all started when he most definitely did not want to be in Parliament last Thursday for the voting down of the Treaty Principles Bill after a debate on whether or not it should have a second reading. And that was voted down because the National Party and the New Zealand First Party abandoned ACT. It was all sort of prearranged. It was political theatre. And the Treaty Principles Bill, which I believe the vast majority of New Zealanders actually agreed with, is no more. Well, one group that is vitally interested in these issues and has been advocating and lobbying its position, and I think representing a fair chunk of New Zealand with its position on issues regarding the treaty, is a group called Hobson's Pledge. And Hobson's Pledge had planned to run, I guess, what we'd call an attack ad in the Herald on the Friday, saying where was the Prime Minister, because he wanted to be anywhere but Parliament and involved in the voting down of the bill. He runs away from issues of controversy. We know that is now the track record of Mr. Luxon. So they had an ad prepared and I presume approved, but everything went awry. To find out what did happen, we're joined now by, the boss, the big man at Hobson's Pledge. That is Don Brash. Don, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sean.
All right, what was this ad designed to do?
Well, basically, you wanted to tell the Prime Minister and tell the country that the Prime Minister was out of step with public opinion on this issue. We know that from polls taken of the question of whether you want the government to be run by the Parliament, whether you want people to have equal rights. Those were both clearly established majority view of New Zealanders right across the political spectrum. Certainly in National, ACT, New Zealand First, and even Labour, strong public support, and the Prime Minister was effectively ignoring that wave of popular opinion.
Okay, this was to run in the Herald on the Friday?
Yep.
How big was the ad going to be? And in ballpark figures, how much were you going to spend?
Full page and no discount available to us at $15,000.
$15,000. Full page, front page, or page 3?
No, we couldn't. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the front page. We're no longer entitled to the front page, apparently. But they raised no objection as of Wednesday. Thursday morning, they rang and said, look, you've got to remove, first of all, the National Party logo. And we agreed to do that. And they said, look, this has been constructed by AI. It was not constructed by AI. The photograph certainly was photoshopped, but it was not AI. And the basic message was, shame on you, Prime Minister. Your voters won't
So that's
forget.
what the ad said. And had you actually paid them the money, the Herald?
No, we hadn't paid the money.
Okay, but $15,000 for a full-page ad in the Herald, geez, that's...
Yep.
I'd pay half that. Okay, Don. So they start raising this is AI, you've got to remove the logo. When did they tell you that they just weren't going to run the ad?
Well, when we agreed that we were not going to remove the photograph of the Prime Minister, and they said, well, if you're not going to do that, we won't run the ad. So
you're not allowed to run an ad with the photograph of the best-known politician?
Well, they weren't prepared to run it as we had designed it. We had a picture of the Prime Minister with fingers in his ears. Now, that was
That's
photoshopped,
right.
Of course. We haven't
and
got a
obviously photoshopped, and I would say legitimate political advocacy and commentary in a functional democracy.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, so they just said, no, we're not going to run it.
That's right, unfortunately. So that's not the first time, of course, we've been turned down by the Herald.
Okay, have you got any right of appeal to this?
Well, we went to the Advertising Standards Authority at one point on the earlier refusal by the Herald to run an ad, and we lost that. So it's not very satisfactory. I'm very sympathetic to the people who want to toss out the board, because clearly we've got a medium who doesn't care about their shareholders. I mean, it's just...
Well, there's $15,000 of profit.
That's right.
Isn't it? Who communicated with you over this? Well, I don't know. I'm going to call it discrimination.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, Sean. They didn't communicate with me directly.
All right. Look, Don, you do know it would cost you a lot less than $15,000 to have that message blitzed across into hundreds of thousands of people who interact with the platform?
That's a good reminder, Sean.
Digital
Very
advertising on the platform is huge. We get over 500,000 social media engagements every month. Just saying, Don.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm working hard for my directors because I'm one of them, and shareholders because I'm one of them. Look, I do think this raises a wider issue. And that is, we do have NZME's board in a kind of death match with their shareholders, who fundamentally say, many of the largest shareholders say, you are woke, you're not editorially pure, in all sorts of ways you run this business with a political agenda. And it just seems to me your experience and the experience of Hobson's pledge is the prime example of this. This isn't about news content. It's about the cultural attitude that the company has taken. And it clearly, yep. I don't think anyone listening to what you've just told us could say there isn't an inherent cultural bias in the way these decisions are made.
I think that's right. I mean, it's an astonishing thing, with public opinion strongly supportive of the Treaty Principles Bill, Prime Minister claiming there's nothing in it which he likes. I mean, has he not read the bill? It's impossible to say there's nothing in it he doesn't like. I mean, the government has the right to govern, surely. That's common. I mean, maybe the Maori Party don't like that, but everyone else presumably signs up to that.
Yeah, and I don't think. I mean, I suppose we've had this flurry of moral panic over people being nasty to politicians online and supposedly death threats and things like that. But I don't think having a picture, photoshopped or otherwise, of the Prime Minister with his fingers in his ears. In fact, what I laughed about was it was actually in a conversation I'd had with someone on Thursday. I said it's like the Prime Minister sticking in his fingers in his ears going, la, 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 think I'll call someone in Thailand about trade. So I think it was the perfect imagery, and I think that is a healthy level of dissent, isn't it?
I absolutely agree with that. I mean, if we veto that kind of ad, you have to wonder what kind of ads we can still run, because it's perfectly clear what the meaning is. It's not insulting. It's not threatening. Yeah.
Well, what do? Do you keep trying to place advertising in the Herald?
Well, we'll keep on trying. I mean, clearly there's a shareholder revolt going on currently in the Herald, NZME, and that may produce a fundamentally different approach. I hope it does. I must say I bought a small number of shares in NZME myself last week because I'm going to protest at the annual meeting.